Good morning, everybody. Lovely to have Katie Howell here today. And Carly, how are you?
All good my side, Jules. How's everyone doing today?
Really good.
Fantastic.
Thanks, ladies. Really good.
You.
Enjoying?
So lovely to have you here, Katie. Um, Obviously sporting one of your classic headpieces.
Yes. Hides the mane that's underneath this hat.
Yes, but it's becoming a bit of a signature look for you. Unless this was pre-business, you've always worn hats, have you?
Yeah. Always been a hat girl. I've not been blessed with lovely hair, so it's always been something that I've been able to pull off, and it hides all sins that is my hair that hairstylists have a go at me for every time I go to a hairdresser.
Well, it's so great to have you on. As you know, the Spa Sisters' main mission is to engage, disrupt, transform the therapist experience, and bring voices together. And we've had such some incredible guests on the show, and really wanting to kind of amplify therapists' experiences in a very authentic way. We met in spring this year, or in 2022, and yeah, we kind of hit it off, didn't we?
Yeah.
And got chatting and haven't stopped since. I don't know if we've been productive, but a chat is always good. So, but no, on a more serious note, you kind of explained to me that you've set up your own business as a spa consultant.
Mm.
As I delved more into your backstory and your life, I think it means a lot more to you than just, running a business. There's a lot of heart and soul and passion behind your mission. So please start by letting us know where it all began for you,
Mhm.
and why you are doing what you're doing.
Sure. So I've been in the industry, the spa industry, for 17 years and had the privilege of working with some of the most luxury, biggest brands out there in spa world. And basically, I was not very clever at school. I didn't enjoy school, and college for me, my mum told me to go and do beauty because I loved doing nails on myself. And it made me realize that I wasn't stupid, which is what I believed I was in school. I just wasn't passionate about education in the sense of academy. But when I started to actually do beauty, like the first massage I ever learned, I remembered instantaneously and remember it till this day. And it wasn't because I was stupid, it was because I just wasn't passionate about what I was being taught in school. And so that was the first trigger for me, that I realized that, when you're truly passionate about something, it removes every barrier that you have that you get told you've got. So that was the first start. And then I become a therapist, and I was working for Steiner, now called One Spa World, which is the biggest kind of like contract on cruise ships and spas. And it's hard work, but I absolutely loved it. And I've come to realize how vital a therapist role is in somebody's life. I changed so many people's lives that I got to meet. And I had husbands coming up to me, hug me. I had almost love letters saying that I've changed the way they look at themselves, and that they now feel like a new person. And and it was the husbands for me, because husbands would come up to me and go, I don't know what you did in that 1 hour, but my wife is happy again. And I realized then that that therapists have a very, very, very important role in people's lives. And no matter who you are or what your background is, if you're a therapist, you go into it to help people and to give them results, whether it's through physical or mental well-being. Like, you have the opportunity to touch every single person you have in every hour on the hour. But then the other side to that is that there's so many therapists that don't get told how special and important they are. And that's from how the spa builder design, to management, to hotel management, to guest experiences with therapists. And there's many reasons behind that. But for me, I know that from my own personal experience working with over 14,000 different women and men, especially on their skin, because I was very skin orientated, that you can literally impact someone in such a powerful way, and it's a positive way. And so that was my journey, and that's my realization with being a therapist. And then when I went into management, I realized how managers how they don't impact therapists in the right way. And so what I mean by that is I was given really good managers and really bad, and I learned from both. And I realized the managers that weren't necessarily the best were the ones that were very kind of focused on the money side of it, which I know is important in a business, but I also believe that as a manager, you're a leader, and for you to get that outcome of a positive kind of outcome where your bottom line is looking pretty good, you have to care about your team. Your team is your money. And that is where, you know, I think so many managers fell down, and I fell down to start off with. And so I then realized that wasn't the case, that it was actually all about my team. And all I cared about was my team. And so when I went into management, that's what I did. And then moved to Norway after I finished with Steiner, my last management contract. I redeveloped a spa there, bring a new team in. It was an underdeveloped spa that was basically left to ruin because the hotel management, the owner of the hotel, didn't know what to do with it. So I showed that it was an actual asset to the hotel and not a drain. It had the most beautiful views over like the Norwegian coastline. Like, it was stunning. It was a boutique hotel, but all the love had been ripped out from it, and the community around it didn't enjoy it. And so we spent a whole year building that community back up. And again, that's when I started to appreciate how important community support is, especially for a hotel that's maybe in the middle of nowhere, which our hotel was. Is very much seasonal based. So through the winter, when, you know, nobody was coming to us, our community is what kept us going and making us, you know, keeping that actual bottom line healthy, if that makes sense. Once I realized I didn't want to learn Norwegian, I then come out and moved back to the UK, and was blessed to be able to be given the chance to work with a company called Soho House, and they were opening up the Soho Farmhouse. And I was the opening manager of the Cowshed Spa there, the biggest cowshed to date, and the most successful opening to date as well. We had a 9-room spa with hot tubs, jacuzzis, the Cowshed Island. It was beautiful. And we kicked from the get-go, even when we didn't have half the spa available, because typical Soho House style, we just opened when we opened. We basically just worked it, managed it, and it never had one complaint. We never had anyone complaining about the therapist. The team were happy. I kept 99% of my team the first year, which is very, very rare. And basically, by the time I left, I still had about 10 original therapists working for me, which again is also very rare in the spa hospitality. And they introduced all their friends into the spa. And so for me, that was kind of where I left working for employment, because I realized then what happened with the Cowshed was become so successful that we needed to get bigger. So Nick Jones, the founder of Soho House, said, "Kate, do you need a bigger spa?" And I said, "I do." And so we actually took actual kind of space off the food and beverage department, which never happens. It normally is food and beverage taking space from the spa, but we took some, so we took one for the team. And we literally changed that, and we went from a 9-room spa to a 13-room spa, and we got bigger. We realized what our market wanted, which was more treatment rooms than experiences, because obviously Soho is an experience in itself. So I was able to work with the architects, the interior designers that build, and I realized then that the biggest problems that spas face when it comes to operations and team management is the actual build of the spa. It's never built to be operationally successful. And that's when I realized that's where my calling was. And so I basically left Soho in 2019, February. I slightly through a wobble, and then went to work for a company in London, which I was like, what am I doing? Because again, I basically got brought in to sort their spa out, but there was issues within the upper management, and so I thought best to leave until that issues were sorted out. And then I thought, do you know what, it's the right time now to actually start my own business. And so in September 2019, KH Spa Consultancy was born with a vision of actually building spas to be operationally and therapist successful, and not client success, because all spas are built to look beautiful, but not all spas are built to actually make the people that work there and live there actually happy, and then retaining the staff as well. So that is where I am, and that basically is what kickstart KH Spa Consultancy.
Oh my gosh, where do we start, Jules?
Oh, well, resonating first of all 100% on that whole area of spas are not built with a therapist in mind. I've been saying that as well for years. Get a therapist to help build it or help design it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the team, you're absolutely right. That's the team is everything. And I love what you said about the team is your money, is your investment, it's your future.
Yeah.
Mm.
So you know that's it just feels like you've had lots of natural progression within the industry. You know, you were a therapist, you did a lot of hard work on the ships,
Mm.
went to management, took it on even further. So it just feels like you were kind of making those decisions, but feels like a natural route to go. Starting from when you started your business, this has been a new journey for you, hasn't it? So you've figured out what your goal is, you've figured out what your mission is, you've figured out all this stuff from all those years and that experience. But now comes a new challenge. How do you set up, run your own business as a one-woman band? You know, where are you getting your support from? You know, mental support, emotional support, you know, financial support. How do you do that? That's a big thing to set up.
It is, and it was really, really scary. And actually, I'm going to be completely honest. We had to. So I was living in Banbury because obviously with Soho, and my partner and myself were like, right, we both wanted to set up our own businesses, and we both thought, well, we haven't got kids, we haven't got massive, responsibility, so let's do it. Now's the time. Obviously, we didn't know COVID was coming. And so we decided to, Miles's parents have got a beautiful house that is big enough to be able to have 4 people living in it and not step on each other's toes. So we made the conscious decision to try and save all our money and put it into businesses. So we actually moved back in with Miles's parents. And we basically started it then. I had absolutely no clue as to what I was doing, and to be honest, I still really haven't got no clue as to what I'm doing. I'm just winging it half the time. I only figured out that I needed certain insurances like in the last couple of weeks. I didn't even know what those were, so like had no clue. All I know is I know what I'm talking about when it comes to spas, and that was the driving factor, is because I knew that I could go and work for a company and make a nice 6-figure salary because I can help build their spas and blah 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 and grow their spas, but that would be limiting me to one company. And I know that there's so many people out there that need the support that I have in my head. And I thought, that's just being, selfish to one company. I need to be selfless and give me to everyone. And I built a website. I spent like 2-3 grand on a website, and I hadn't even started my business yet. And that website hasn't changed, so I probably need to change that at some point. I was very lucky, I have to say. I had 3 builds through word of mouth off the back, straight away. Now, don't get me wrong, 2 of those builds unfortunately failed due to COVID, and they kept getting pushed back, but then the finances, or they built over the spa layout to where it's going to be, and just little things like that. So they now, unfortunately, are no longer going ahead, but there is one in Oxford that we're still waiting for approval. But I was very lucky in that sense, so I got money straight from the get-go. But then I had a baby in 2021, so that happened, and obviously COVID happened. So I'm honest, I still live with my mother-in-law. She is the most amazing woman in the world. I've got my father-in-law.
I thought you were going to say she's the most annoying woman in the world.
No, I mean, she probably thinks I am, because all I talk about is spas. But no, she's, they've been phenomenal. They have been our support financially, because it takes a lot of money to start a business. And with what we do, I have to travel a lot, so I have the most amazing partner. Miles, he has taken a back step in his business and has allowed me to fulfill and to kind of go after my passion and my job. So he's now the stay-at-home dad. He looks after the baby. And whenever I get time, like Monday, I spent all day with her, just me and her, all by ourselves, and it was bliss. But what I want to be able to do is set up my company where it's successful enough that I can actually, when she's old enough to realize that I'm not around all the time, that I can pick her up from school, and the business is self-sufficient in that sense. And so there's lots of things going on that's going to help me to be achieved. To achieve that.
I mean, first of all, I think you're kind of smashing those stereotypes of what it means to be successful. We all think we have to go out alone and somehow, work our way up a ladder to afford to get accepted for a mortgage to get your first house, and that owning your own home, you know, is the key to success. And you know, you've really kind of gone the route of what's sustainable, what's conscious, what, you know, if I would take this even deeper, you know, you moving in with your in-laws is actually quite a very normal, regular thing for many cultures, to live with their family. Yeah. You know, living with your family isn't seen as an adult, isn't seen as a failure. It's community, it's family, it's completely okay. In this country, it's very different, isn't it? It's sort of like, you know, turn 18, off you go, come back for roast dinner, possibly if you're lucky, on a Sunday, yeah. But off you go again. And I mean, that's just a very general statement, so please don't, you know, quote me on that. But it feels like you're okay with these choices because you've got your focus, you've got the bigger goal at hand. Tell me about, I know you mentioned before to me about the decision you made to have a mentor. How's that impacted your business?
Yeah, so I was procrastinating for about a year. So once I had the baby, I just sat staring at LinkedIn, looking at everyone doing really well, and then thinking, why aren't I getting contacts? Why aren't I getting leads? And it was because I wasn't putting myself out there. And so there was two things that changed for me in the past couple of months. It was a client that listened to my story and was interested in me, was interested in what a spa consultant was, because they didn't realize they needed me until they had a chat with me. And they were like, you need to get on and tell your story because it's really interesting. And also then I got introduced to a lovely lady called Kylie, and Kylie is now my business mentor, and she just got me out of my head. Everything that I know, she got on paper. And I think that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of those entrepreneurs are like, they have all these ideas, but then because they don't put them on paper, or when they go to put them on paper, it all goes out of their head. It's normally these ideas come when you're in the car or when you're in the shower, and they're brilliant ideas, but you forget to log them. And so she spent one full day just listening. She asked me a question and let me just roll. And we were there for a whole 8 hours, and she wrote down everything. And then she started to actually go, right, this is what you do. This is what you are. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, where have you been all my life? And it's literally, she changed, and she made me feel empowered. She made me feel that I knew what I was doing. She stopped me procrastinating. She got me to do the LinkedIn lives. And that has been a massive boost in my business for me, because again, I'm not very good at writing things. I'm dyslexic. So it takes me about 10 hours to write one post. So she goes, well, don't do that, Kate. Do what you're good at, and you're good at talking live. So do it. And nobody else is doing it on LinkedIn. And it really has massively pushed my LinkedIn profile forward. I got people randomly messaging me going, what do you do? And then I got people just messaging me, like on, like, if I go to an event, they're like, I know you and I know your hat. And like I said, hats now become, you know, LinkedIn famous. And, you know, so it's just funny how things happen. But I think like everything happens when it's meant to. I truly believe that. And I wasn't ready for this busyness. A couple of months ago, I think I was dealing with postnatal depression. I didn't realize it at the time. But now looking back, my like fog, the brain fog, all of that stuff that I thought was just, you know, maybe me craving sugar all the time. I'm not a sugary person. I'm very much a savory person. I was craving cakes all the time. And now I don't crave any of that stuff. And I realized it was just, my body was getting back to normal. I was putting stress and pressure on myself to be, you know, this perfect person, to be having this, you know, successful business, yet rocking it as a new mum. And it just doesn't work that way. And, you know, we're all human. And, you know, now I've come out of it. Again, it's another learning curve for me to be able to support those that maybe go through something similar. Because now I've been through it, I can actually talk about it, and I'm okay about it, you know?
And it's what you are just picking up on what you said there when you said the first year you were just sat watching LinkedIn and how everyone was successful. But what I think we as new mums, or, you know, we fail to connect the dots that we've just had a baby, and it's really hard to have all this freedom and inspiration and dreams and goals of how you want your career to go. And then when you have a baby, you really do, you know, the only job at that moment in time in those early days is to keep that baby happy and alive. And so why do we beat ourselves up about that? That's kind of the role that we take on in those early days. And a lot of women can't sit with it and can't be present in that moment, because pre-children, all that was there for us was go, 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 go. And then suddenly, boom, you're down to earth with a thud in a room watching CBeebies all day, you know, and, you know, and then you feel like a failure. But actually, that's not failure. You've just created a human being.
Yeah.
You're tired, you need to sleep, you need to nurture yourself, you need to nurture the baby. But we struggle to be present with that because we set ourselves so high, and we expect ourselves to bounce back so quickly. And then what happens then is we find that sometimes we miss those precious first moments, which is a whole nother topic that I could start. So I won't sidetrack, but I just didn't want you to, when you said, you know, you felt like you were sort of watching everyone's success whilst you're sat there feeling like a failure. You know, it saddens me to think that lots of women might be going through that same feeling, because we're, you know, actually you're superhuman and superwoman and super mama, and you're doing it all. So definitely give yourself a pat on the back for that.
Thank you. I will.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Definitely do. Oh, Julie, have you got anything else we want to talk to Katie about? What are your next steps?
Yeah, I mean, who do you want to inspire? I mean, you know, I can hear in your voice, and I see the way that you speak about it, that this passion for the therapist. So, I mean, are these the people that you want to inspire, or you want to inspire more business owners to be a bit more mindful and conscious about their teams?
I suppose that's a really good question. I want to inspire everyone to appreciate what spas are. I think and this is my own personal opinion on UK spas. UK spas are boring. They don't create fun. And for me, I'm all about fun. Like, wellness for me is, there's so many different ways that you can look at wellness. And I feel there's only one person or one certain group of people talking about what wellness is. But wellness means so many different things to so many different people. Like, for me, wellness is going to Ibiza and have the time of my life, which is the complete opposite to what other people might class as wellness. But my soul is recharged by that type of music, by being around people that are just as like having as much fun. Like, that for me is what my kind of wellness is, you know, or going for a coffee with my friends and having a good 2-hour, 4-hour chat. And I think what I want to be able to do going forward with my consultancy is inspire therapists to know how important they are, and what a gift they have to be able to do what they do. I want to inspire hotel owners and, you know, on hoteliers to build spas that have got character, that have got soul, that have got momentum. I want to inspire people to go. I want to inspire men to go to spas, because men need it just as much as we do, but we need to make spas more accessible to the alpha male man. I put a video of an experience of thunder and lightning, and it's took off it's in Milan. It's a beautiful spa in Milan, and they're very, very different in how they approach spas. And you sit there, and literally you're in what feels like the sea, and then all around you is thunder and lightning and rain, and it's the most. And I've had so many men going, I want to go to that spa, you know. And I saw something on Instagram. I'm not quite sure if it's 100% right or the statistics are right, but more men under the age of 35 die of suicide than they do of any other disease. And that for me is that literally brings tears to my eyes, because there's so much that men should be able to, you know, go to and have those chats and have that fun and have that, like, relax and be able to breathe. And I think spas have to adapt to this. The society is moving, is going away from the typical, let's go in, let's have a facial, let's have a massage, and let's relax there with a cup of tea, herbal, and then let's leave feeling renewed. It doesn't work that way. Like, our lives are stressful. We want fun. We want to be adventurous. And I want to be able to have that inside spas, because spas have that. And then therapists will enjoy it because it's so different. And they can bring out their own character. And I want therapists to be themselves in spas. I don't want them to be this, hi sir, hi madam. So yes, there is particular spas that I will never work with, because that's their type of client, and I get that. But I want to build spas, and I want to create spas that have meaning, that people want to go back to time and time again, because it takes them out of their life and allows them to be them. And that's kind of what I want to do. I want to inspire all spas to be different, to have personality, to have a soul, to have something that people go in and they feel instantly and they connect to it instantly, rather than just going into a spa, having the same generic massages, the same facials, everything's the same. It all looks and feels beautiful. That's what spas are. But what else can we give? What's the next dimension to spas? And that's what I'm trying to bring forward now with consultancy.
I think what you're saying there really is so true. And male therapists as well. I'd like to see more male therapists in the spa. But yeah, I guess from what you're saying, from the very root, that trickles down into supporting therapists. So therapists, I know you have a great network of therapists that you work with, and you do a course for them in skincare.
Yes.
Which is fantastic. But I guess, you know, your fundamentals are from the root. How can that ripple through to that operational success?
Yes.
Watch this space, guys, because
fabulous.
Katie is on a roll.
Oh yeah.
And
On fire.
I do believe, honestly, Katie, when we met, I do feel like you're a bit of a game changer in our industry. I've never shied away from saying that. And, you know, I think that's fantastic. It's refreshing. It's what the industry needs, and then what will happen in the future. You know, fresh faces, fresh ideas. It's exciting times ahead.
It is. And I think, you know, and I say there's no disrespect to anyone, any spa that's being built or created. I just feel that now with the society that we have, and what people are looking for is to have out of these world experiences. I feel spas need to watch that, because I spoke to one client, he said, "Kate, I want a spa that lives on forever." And that's a hard thing to do, but for that to happen, you have to look at what humans do. But primarily, we want community, we want fun, we want to enjoy our lives. We get one life and we want to live it, and we want to be able to spend that with people that we love. And if we want to laugh, we should be able to laugh and not feel like we're in a library. And and all these types of things that that are still present, unfortunately, in some spas. Not all. I see, and I'm speaking to spa consultants, and I'm seeing the change, and that's just, for me, that's just phenomenal. But I just feel it still needs to go in that step further. So hopefully that's where I'll kick in.
And there's one more thing I would want to add that whole approach can address is, we all hear about burnout, but you've equally, on the other side, you've got bore out. Yes. Where therapists are actually getting bored with being in that same old. And I think if we're looking at the problems that some people are having in terms of staff retention, I mean, who wouldn't want to stay connected to a spa that is just full of those experiences and fun and different ways of creating it? I'm absolutely convinced that will be a game changer as well in terms of staff retention, or even attracting talent attraction.
Yeah. And definitely, and creating spas that work with certain therapists' skill sets.
Yeah,
like being very niche in what you are actually creating, because then you attract the right clients, the right therapist, the right team, and it will just be right.
Yeah,
So,
perfect.
lovely.
Great.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
And if you want to learn more about Katie, Katie, can you share your Instagram handle and your LinkedIn connections, please?
Very quickly. But my LinkedIn is Katie Howell, so KH Spa Consultancy. That's my LinkedIn. My Instagram is my daughter. So it's Kate_Aurora, but it's going to be more work stuff on there. But I try to keep it very me, so people get to know who I am.
Wonderful.
Lovely. So you can reach Katie through those channels, and then also us through our email, spasisterspodcast@gmail.com, and at Spa Sisters Podcast on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Comment, like, share, and follow us, join us, and we can't wait to keep this going and see what you get up to next, Katie.
Super. Thank you so much, Katie. Bye.
Bye, everyone.